Okay. Got it.
All right. I think that here we are again. Let me quickly double check as always. You know that I have to always do this. And we are back. We are back with the Truth Runners. I've missed you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. This is Christina, and this is the first episode, I would say this, of the Truth Runners talk show. And I have, as first guest, I have the privilege and honor to have my first guest, Amelia. Welcome, Amelia.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Oh, it's so nice to have you. I was so happy. And the idea to run, to have this talk show, the Truth Runners, it came one evening actually. And I was like, okay, let's do the Truth Runners. Because, that quote, what I really, really love is that sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. And I was like, okay, but that's why we are here, to tell our stories, real life stories, what happened to us, how we went through things, and through this to inspire others. Hello, Dr. Anita. Thank you for watching. All right, guys. So first, let me introduce you Amelia. Amelia, she's a gorgeous, gorgeous soul. She is a business owner. She is a transformational speaker and an amazing one. She is an author. We co-authored the same book. She's a mentor, trainer. Yes, it's called Find Your Self Handbook. And I had the honor to be one of the writers together with Amelia. And also she's a dance therapist. Now, as a dancer, she traveled all around the world. She accumulated a lot of experience. And also, I have to pick. I don't want to say something which is not
so
true.
Many things.
Okay. Her passion is to accompany people on their way. I love this. To accompany people on their way to personal freedom and life fulfillment. So I have the great pleasure to have you here today. I know that everyone will benefit and will learn a lot from our discussion today. I'm going to ask you a load of questions. If you guys have any questions to Amelia, just please feel free to put them in the chat below, and we are going to try to answer them. Now, I introduced your background a little bit, but my question to you, Amelia, is I love this question. My coach loves this question. I think everybody loves this question. Who is the real Amelia?
Okay, so the real Amelia is someone who is here to serve now, because I've gone through an amazing transformation myself. And I want everyone that suffers, that has pain, to experience deep inner peace, love, and joy in their lives every day, and that's my mission now, to go out with my story, with all my life lessons. That's why I created Amelia Rise Your Life from Victim to Victor, which is a 12-step program. And I'm writing my book. So I am here to serve. That's who I really am now. I am here for everyone who needs me.
Oh, and that's beautifully said, Amelia. And that's really, really, really amazing. I know that in your chapter, you've been talking about how to go from zero to hero. And you are talking about how to conquer the mindset. What exactly do you mean by that?
I mean that it's so important that we take the control back, to empower ourselves. And how do we do that? We do that by starting to understand our thoughts, our feelings, why we act the way we act, and why we get the results that we get. So to understand ourselves, to have this inner journey, that's what I mean, attitude is everything, and learn how to observe ourselves. Why do we react how we react? And
That's a really, really deep inner work. And if one is willing to take on this journey, to go down on this road, one, you have to learn a lot and to be very patient with themselves, especially, and to really dig deep. But trust me, guys, it's really, really worth it. As Amelia said, to take the control back, especially on your mindset. You asked a question, and your question sounded like this: how could I be totally free and happy? And actually, this made me think, what would I answer to this question? And because our topic today is forgiveness, I would love to ask you, Amelia, do you think that forgiveness has anything, something, or a little less do with happiness and freedom, or is everything?
It is, for me, it has been everything, because, of course, every step that I have taken has been beneficial for me. Every journey, every inner journey that I have done has been beneficial. But it was when I learned to forgive that I was set free, that I could really leave my past and feel deep inner peace, love, joy, freedom, and fulfillment. Before that, it was something missing. It was harder because I was still angry. I still had resentments towards my father in my case, and I wasn't healed completely. Yes, I got better and better. It's a process. Forgiveness is a process. You cannot just make up your mind and then the day after you have forgiven. It doesn't work that way. It's a journey. Absolutely. So but it was when I was able to totally forgive, not like, oh, I forgive you for my own sake, but I really meant it. Then I was free.
What I meant to say is that everybody says, yeah, forgive and let go. But as you said, it does not really happen like this. Okay, forgive and let go. It's easy to say, but it's a really long journey. It's a process, how to be done. And you've been mentioning anger. But before we go deep in this, in anger, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself? Who was Amelia as a child? If you would love to share with us, and how you become that confident person who you are today.
Well, first I can say that I'm 55 this month, so it's been a long journey. But yes, my story, I'm not going to go like really deep and talk a long time about it, but I'm going to mention that my childhood trauma was sexual abuse. Incest is what they call it. My father was abusing me sexually for 16 years, which is a long time. And I was only 1.5 years old, and I was 17 when I was running away. So it means that my childhood and my teenager period was like, who am I? I was like totally, so when I ran away, I didn't know who I was or whatever, what was correct and not correct. And my boundaries was non-existent, and I went out to this big scary world with no tools. I was fucked. Yeah. Literally.
Exactly.
and then I just go out in the world, and I needed to find myself. Of course, it has been many life lessons. I was my own abuser for a while. My body wasn't mine. I thought that's for everyone who takes it. the lack of boundaries is another topic we could talk about sometime. But so yes, it's been a very hard journey. I'm lucky though that the last 3 years before my father died, I made up my mind that enough is enough, because when I lived in Norway now for like 18 years. I will say that before I came back to Norway, I was only running. It means that I was almost 40 years old when I stopped running. And it was then I went to therapy for 2 years in a group with girls that has experienced the same. And it was then I was forced to first see other people, you know, like for instance, my father, to learn how to have empathy for other people and to learn to see, yes, to see other people instead of myself, my own life and every misery and every anger and every feeling that emotion that I had. I was so negative. I hated, I have been buried, my family, my complete family in the ground, and I have dreamt that he have died in so many ways. I've been so angry, but I'm also so lucky because I before he died, I made up my mind 3 years before. I made up my mind and I said, this is gonna stop now. It's gonna stop not only for me, but it's gonna stop because I want my family to heal. I have so many beautiful, how do you call it, nieces, and yeah, a lot of small, beautiful children around me now, that I said to myself that this needs to stop. I don't want this energy anymore in my family. I want us to heal. And it needs to start with me because no one else are capable. So the therapy for 2 years was really good because I was forced to look at the big picture, you know. I started to do some research on who is my father, who was he, and who is he today. I mean, I was abused until I was 17, but what happened to my father after, when I ran away? How has he, and why did he do what he did? It's not an excuse. What he did is horrible. It's not, forgiveness is not about saying that it's okay. Absolutely not. So they cannot, it's not okay what he did to me is not okay at all. But he had his story. He was abused. He never experienced love in his life. He said he misunderstood my love, which is sick. But that's his story. It helped me to understand where he came from. So I didn't accept that it's okay, but I did accept that he had his story. And I wanted to embrace that. And I wanted to learn to know my father. I wanted to learn. And of course, it was, he enabled me. He made it, yeah, to forgive, because he had changed. He said many years before that, sorry, you know, I'm so sorry for everything I've done, which helps, you know. And I also have on paper that he's abused me. He needed to go to the police and blah, blah, blah. Later on, I made sure when I went into therapy, I made sure that he had to talk about what he'd done to the police. So I have, like, I don't know what you call it in English, I'm Norwegian, so but it's at least I have have it on paper that it's true, that what I'm telling is
Like testimony, his testimony.
a testimony. And he also, before he died, he said, Amelia, I want you to write a book. I want you to tell your story. I want you to explain people like me, you know, that we also can change, and that there are reasons behind. Often it's, even if it's not an excuse by far, but I feel lucky that I could tell him 3-4 months before he died that I actually said daddy, which I haven't said in 30 years. So it's like yeah, I could talk and talk. I don't know if anything makes sense now.
Yes,
but
it absolutely makes sense. And if you were near me right now, I hope you can feel my hug, and I admire you, and I have to acknowledge your courage, first of all, to speak up. I have to acknowledge your courage to tell your story, what happened, because it's not easy. And this is what really helps all those other girls out there, all those other women who have been sexually abused. Just all you need to do is to make your voice heard, first of all. And I'm hearing you saying a lot of things here. You were talking about empathy. You were talking about understanding not just yourself, but understanding that person who hurt you, which is a really big deal. I mean, that person is a fucked up person that you still have to understand why he's doing what he's doing, why he's done what he's done. And then it takes a great amount of empathy. And you've done all this. And hearing you saying that as you heal, your family heals. And I'm a living proof as well here that when you start to heal your own life, then you start to heal your whole family, your kids, your parents, your relatives, because your healing has a ripple effect on everyone, and this is beautiful. But most of all, as I said, I really have to acknowledge you for your courage to speak up. And because usually victims of sexual abuse, they don't say anything because they are afraid, they are ashamed, they feel guilty. I don't know, what was in your mind? What first, when the very first time started to talk about this, how did you feel? What was your first thought? If I may ask something like this.
Okay, first of all, it takes a long time before we say anything.
Absolutely.
They say in Norway, at least they say that from 35 and upwards, it's possible that we start talking. So it is something that we don't do normally very easily. And it's been a journey for me too. Of course, it's been a process like everything. The first time I said something, I had a very bad experience. I said something to my mom when I was 25 or 26, but she didn't believe me.
Yes, this is what happens. Then, because people don't believe you, or maybe they start to blame you. It was your fault. I don't know if it was your case, but
and it surprised me because when I was younger, she always asked, tell me, I know there's something happening, tell me. But when I finally did, she turned her back on me. And because he had the power, I have a lovely relationship with my mother today and with my whole family. I just want to say that, bless her. And but she was also in his power. So he said, because he was religious, he believed in Jesus, and so he used that. He said, oh, don't you have so dirty thoughts, things like that. So she felt like, yeah, he was manipulative and everything, you know, and so he won again, and she turned the back, and I was in Spain. I was living, as I said, I escaped. So it was easy for them to just let me be there, and everything was quiet. And Nice.
You here, me there, it's good.
But later on, I found a letter that my father wrote to me. So when I gave her the letter, and she actually had it on paper that he asks for forgiveness and things like that, then she divorced him the same day. She just say, no, okay, now I believe her, and you cannot manipulate me anymore. I have the letter here. So, and then they got divorced, of course, and life got easier for us, talking about it and forgiving. My mother is, of course, forgiven, and yeah.
Thank you for sharing this, Amelia. I would love to go back to one of your sentences when you said that in this process of forgiveness, it is very important for you to understand your feelings. How do you get there? How you can one understand feelings? Because the first emotion, what I'm sensing, it's anger, of course.
Yeah.
How can you understand? How can you manage this anger, and how can you turn it into something better?
You can do it in many ways, of course. First, I want to say that forgiveness, there's so many misconceptions when it comes to forgiveness. So I just want to mention, if anyone is feeling provoked or angry because I have forgiven and they should not be forgiven and blah, blah, blah. There's so many meanings, and I do agree, the act that has been done, it's not that we condemned. We think, of course, I think that's horrible and it should never have happened. So I just want to acknowledge all the feelings out there about this topic. That's the first thing. For me, it was a conscious, deliberate decision that I needed and that I was ready for later in life. And you need to be, it's so important to acknowledge that you need to be prepared, you need to be ready. Because it is a tough decision, it's a tough journey. And as you mentioned, when you feel angry and really, I wanted him to die. I dreamt so many horrific dreams about how slow and painfully he could die. So I've been there. I understand if you get provoked by me now. But saying that, you are ready when you are ready. Absolutely. And I came to a point where I needed to look at my feelings. Like I mentioned the attitude before. Attitude for me is like the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, the reactions, the results, all that. So that's where I began. I began to look at, okay, do I want to be ignorant or do I want to study and be knowledgeable? Do I want to be on the minus side, the negative side, or do I want to be positive? And that was a conscious choice. So then I start to ask questions. How can I be more positive? How can I turn my fears into faith? How can I turn my anger into love?
Love, absolutely.
How can I turn all these negative emotions into healing my heart so I can actually live the opposite of what my father did? And then I needed to dig deep and layer by layer, step by step, take each emotion and look at it. I had to dare to look at my wounds, which is also, not an easy journey. So, but I needed to accept it. I needed to acknowledge, and I needed to say that I can't do anything about my past. I cannot do anything. I need to do something of value for myself now. I was ready to heal. I was ready to forgive because I needed something else. I needed to let go. And that was part of my letting go. And the part of healing is to be able to forgive. For me, I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't able to forgive. I changed all these negativities into love. And then I started to study, of course, my mental muscles, you know, all the faculties we have, the willpower, look at the memory, also the implicit memory, which is like flashbacks and triggers and God name it. I mean,
I'm seeing in my mind something which is not there, or it's not like that there.
It's not a quick fix. It will never be a quick fix.
Absolutely.
So step by step, you have to look into every emotion. You don't have to dig and stay there, but you just have to change some way of thinking and embody it. I did that with dance and meditation and healing and, you know, a lot of tools.
And that's amazing. You've done an amazing work. And I have to again say that I really, really acknowledge you for your courage and for your willingness to change. Because many women, they still live in the past, you know, reliving, reimagining, and rethinking the same thoughts continuously, and they do not move forward. But what I'm hearing you saying is that it's good for you as well, you know, because then you don't live in the past anymore. This is something what you cannot change, but you can change what's going to happen from now on.
Yeah.
And that past is not part of it anymore.
No.
Yes, it is within you. Your inner child needs to be healed. The wounds need to be healed. And it's really tough work. But when the shift happened, okay, I'm not there, I want to move here, then the journey starts already, you know, and it's like a snowball.
Yeah, and I think that we need to also address that. Well, first of all, in the beginning, I didn't forgive for myself. I forgave for my family, and then, of course, myself. Maybe it should be another way around, but it worked for me. And then I said, but it's not only him that needs to be forgiven. I need to forgive myself, because I was the abuser after him. I abused myself, and I abused others in a way because I never let them in. For instance, I kept a mask, or maybe several masks. I was a professional dancer, I was a model. Outside everything looked great,
shiny and blue.
Yeah, and they could not understand some of the things. And also the flashbacks and the triggers makes people close to me insecure, because my story is changing every 5 years, you know, that I'm adding to the story, and oh, she's so, not here she goes again, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very complicated, and I can see my part of it, you know. I also hurt people. And even when I didn't want to, it wasn't my intention. I never, ever said, I'm going to hurt that person. Never. But I still did, because I was in pain. So, of course, I did some wrongs. Yeah.
I think that at some point in our lives, we all, without intention, hurt others. And of course, this comes from patterns. But when you realize and you change, you know, you turn things good, then I think that's okay. So you say that it's not about just forgiving others, but forgiving ourselves as well. It's really, really important, right? And you said that forgiveness itself, it was a deliberate decision. It is a conscious decision. So when you decide, and it's like with everything else, it's only take one decision, you know, okay, I decide I'm going to heal.
And you need to be persistent, because it's
absolutely
not easy. So,
and
maybe we need help.
Absolutely. Sometimes you may not be able to do that alone. That help is available. Help is always out there. And I remember talking to you a couple of days ago when we were talking about something similar, and you said really beautifully that sometimes these people, these girls, these women who were sexually abused, or they suffered any kind of trauma, they needed nothing else just to be listened. You
Yes.
remember that?
Yeah, thank you for reminding me, because it's so important. That's something I'm going to travel the world to talk about. What, because first of all, it's like a taboo still talking about sexual abuse, and there's so many people who are scared to even touch the topic because they don't know what to say or what to do with it. You don't have to say or do anything. You just, if someone, I can just say it for myself, it took many years before I talked about my story to anyone. So the first time I did that, what would I have loved to have? It's for my mom, for instance, in my case, to have listened to me. Just listen. What is she saying? What is she saying? What is this? Listen. And then believe. I mean, how can anyone want to say something like that just for the sake of it? I mean, I can't believe that someone's doing that. I can't just say, oh, I was sexually abused for 15, 16 years and come up with a story like that. You have to listen and you have to believe. And you don't have to give them tools or anything, because the only thing I needed was someone to say, but you're safe now. Thank you for sharing. You're safe now. I got you. I hear you. I feel you. I believe you. And if you do that, that's enough. Give them a hug, say that you love them.
Sure. And that's beautiful. So that's really, really powerful what you are saying, because sometimes all we need is just a hug. It's just an ear to listen. It's just somebody to stay near us. It can be even in silence. Just be there. Hold the space.
Yeah. Heart to heart, soul to soul.
And
but can I say something else?
Sure.
You know that if you're listening out there, it is so important that you are in a safe place. You cannot just say that, oh, I'm going to try to forgive, because you can be re-traumatized. Because maybe the person you're trying to forgive should not be forgiven yet. Like really, like you're going to have a relationship with that person, and maybe he will keep on traumatizing you, and be, even if it's not sexual abuse, maybe he's like putting you down, or with verbally abuse,
emotionally, yes,
or emotionally. So you really need to do this only if you are really ready, and that you have your boundaries. Like I said to my father, I said, okay, we're going to do this, but you cannot put me down anymore. You cannot behave like you did. It had nothing to do with the sexual abuse, because that was not a topic anymore. But it was about how he spoke to me, how he treated me, how he respected me, and how I needed him to be vulnerable. I needed things from him, and I was really clear on that. And until you have that power, that self-confidence, and and you are sure that he will never ever be able to hurt you ever again, because you are grounded, you own your shit, you know who you are and all that. Please, before you feel that 100%, do it in a safe place with someone professional. Don't just put yourself in an uncomfortable situation trying to forgive if it's not the right time.
True. We have Leslie watching us and giving a comment. May I? She said, "Thank you for sharing your story. This is not an easy topic. I work with many women who have experienced this trauma, and I am so pleased to hear you talking about healing. It's a verb. Time doesn't heal all wounds, healing does. You warm my heart." Thank you so much, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you.
And I just, something just came up in my mind that you actually said that forgiving, it doesn't mean forgetting, right? Because you cannot forget. I've heard this so many times. Just forget the past, leave it there. That's impossible. You cannot forget something. Yes, you can heal, but the scars will always be there. But if you are strong enough and you moved on and you reached, you had that forgiveness, then you can move on. But the scars will remain. You cannot forget.
Yeah, but we need to understand that it's a long journey. It's not a quick fix. I'm going to say it over again. It is a journey, and everyone is on their journey. And if it takes 10 years or 15 years, it's their journey. The thing is that when people say that, and I heard it many times, oh, it's 20 years ago, why haven't you forgot it already? First of all, with sexual abuse, it's impossible to forget, because you have new flashbacks, you have new triggers, and you have new memories, memories that wasn't there for you to remember before, because you would have killed yourself or something like that, because it's too strong. So you will remember when you are ready.
Yeah, your subconscious mind will let you slowly.
So all these implicit memories are also in our body, and we will be triggered without knowing why did that trigger me. But so it's so complex that if you say something to a traumatized person and you say just forget, we will feel not understood. Loneliness is a huge part when it comes to trauma, sexual abuse. At least it's like we feel so alone. So if you tell me forget about it already, and you don't want to talk because it's uncomfortable, I will feel even more lonely, and you have all these feelings inside only for yourself, because no one else wants to deal with it. So back to, please listen and just be there and believe, because it is hard enough. So don't ever say forget about it, because that's the worst thing you can do.
I would love to ask you, Amelia, do you mind sharing some tips on how actually you got to forgive someone who hurted you emotionally, physically? I'm thinking about things like accepting yourself, or what was the first tool what you touched actually when you started this journey? What was the,
it was a choice about goodness.
A choice.
It was a choice about me. Do I want to be a person who is angry and are treating others poorly because I'm negative and all that, and project that to others? Or do I actually want to have mercy or in my life and goodness? I think I'm born with a good heart. Yes, and thank God for that. And so I never lost that. People have hurt me, and they have tried many times, not only my father, but they could never ever take the love away. I always loved people. I always loved life. So even if I tried to kill myself, I didn't really want to die. But you know,
It
and
was
then
more, I'm sorry for interrupting. I think it was more of, you seeking attention, seeking someone to,
it's
it
for me it
happens.
was like a help, a scream,
Help.
help me, please.
Exactly.
And then after I was thinking about all the psychological benefits,
Mm-hmm.
because I was actually doing a lot always. I'd done dancing, meditation, yoga, all that for a lifetime since I was very little. So that saved my life. I'm sure of it. I always gone inwards. And so the next thing is that I wanted to understand my depression. I wanted to understand my anxiety. I wanted to understand my unhealthy anger.
Mm-hmm.
And not just put it, I'm angry because you this and you that. No, I wanted to see what can I do about this anger, because I don't like it. It's not me. I'm not an angry person, And then I really, 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 with the years, I felt that I need to heal my heart. I want to heal my heart. And I wanted to build peace in my life. So let me see. I call it here in my paper, I call it being forgivingly fit. If you understand what I mean, it's
Yes,
like going to the gym and do some exercises. So I did the same when it comes to my healing and my forgiving. So I needed to be forgivingly fit.
Yeah, to build that muscle slowly to get there, to forgive yourself and the person as well.
And
It's
slowly is a key word.
Absolutely slowly. You cannot do that fast. No.
So let me see what I say here. I built my heart muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So we can practice to not talk negative about others, for instance. So I was actually practicing, now I said something wrong about this girl. Why do I do that?
What was the trigger behind why I did that? Yes.
So I started to ask myself a lot of questions. And then I just said, I'm not going to give that any attention anymore. I'm going to start to smile at them instead. Or say, interesting. So it's just a choice, I think, when it comes to it, it's a choice. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
And then of course you need to address your inner pain. You can't forgive before you have addressed and looked at it. What is your triggers? What are your triggers? What are your pain? And do the grieving and everything that
necessary. Give time, allow every emotion to be there, to feel every emotion, and then, slowly move to the next one, to a higher level. Because, anger, sadness, and all these are really low vibrations.
Yes.
Really, really low, and they will keep you low in life. Even on the outside, it's all shiny and gloomy. It seems like to be, but you are in the inside, and your energy level is really low because you hold that anger within you, right?
And I must say, sorry for being so eager.
No, it's okay.
I also want to say that I so much came back to me when I started to look at others with empathy. Mm-hmm. Before I could say, this person is a bad person. But when I turned it around and I started with empathy, I got so much back. Now my family is really healed. My father was changing so much. He became actually a person I liked in the end. Can you believe that? After what I told you, I mean, that's crazy. I learned to know a man that I actually started to like. We had deep conversations, which is crazy. We talked about everything. And I mean, now he could die. I could be with him, holding his hand. Sorry. And let him go in peace. It was so worth it.
Oh, let me hug you. You're brave, you're beautiful, you're a beautiful soul. And because your energy shifted, your energy changed, of course, all the good things will come back. You know, people can change, people change all the time.
Yeah, and he
your
deserves.
story, yes, your story, you are the lucky ones. You, I think, I wouldn't say lucky, but I can't really find right now an English word to
Yeah, I
describe.
am lucky. I feel that myself.
Because you in this lifetime, you've lived what you lived, you experienced what you experienced, but on the same time later on, you were able, you know, to forgive not just only, you know, your father, but yourself as well, and then build a normal, a loving relationship with him, and all these things in one lifetime.
Yeah.
It's, you are brave. You are brave and courageous, and you're a beautiful soul.
And with him, we found a meaning in my suffering, or also in his suffering. So because we had the conversations we had healed him and me, but we found a meaning. And that's why he said, please write the book. Please tell. And this is amazing.
You know, Amelia, we all have a story to tell. Good or bad, there is a story. There is always a baggage what we carry. Not necessarily have to be ours, but we carry from generation to generation. And if someone behaves the way how they behave, you know, it comes, it's accumulated. And what you've done and what you said, you know, trying to look to the other person with empathy, and trying to put yourself in their shoes, you know, to see the life from their side, you know, with their eyes, it gives you a different perspective on what they did and why they did it. And then it makes you, it helps you actually to better understand the triggers behind their actions.
Absolutely. And can I say something, that it's scientifically proven that empathy is connected to forgiveness. So it shows increased activity in the neural circuit responsible for empathy. So that's quite interesting.
Wow. How do you feel now, Amelia? I would love to really ask, how do you really feel?
I feel that it's well, nice is maybe a wrong word ever. It's actually, I feel it's time for me to share my story, to help others, and I'm ready for it. I feel that it's important, and maybe we can more easily talk about tough topics when more people share their stories. And so I'm grateful for being able to come here and share it. And of course, it's like, because it's new to me, it's a little bit like I don't know what I said, or it's like
that's absolutely fine. As I said,
but that means it comes from the inside. So
look, we are souls in human body, having a human experience, making mistakes, making ums and ahs, it's okay. But what is more important, that you made your voice heard, you shared your story. And I always say, Amelia, if I only have one person, if I inspire only one, that's already worth it. And your journey, your healing was gorgeous, and it's still ongoing because I think it's still a lot of things to process and to go, but you are now able to inspire others. And yes, make your voice heard. Yes, share the story. It really, really helps, because maybe they are just listening in the shadow, they are not commenting, they are not, because they don't like the spotlight. We didn't do that. We were not like this before, right? We were
No.
hiding as well. But at a certain point, like a butterfly, and they following your example, they might have the courage at least to tell to someone. Okay, it can be a friend, a family, a relative,
Yeah.
or go straight away to to professional help. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
someone to listen. So it's really, really brave, and I love you from the bottom of my heart for this.
Oh, thank you. The same to you. Can I just say also that it's so important to not be hard on yourself. If you choose to tell, and if you choose to start a journey of forgiveness, be nice to yourself. It is a journey. And surround yourself with good and wise people who supports you, because without that, it's maybe too hard, and then you can help end. And this is so huge for me, because that's why I started the healing process, the forgiving process, and everything else, is that I wanted to help to end the cycle of, how do you say, inflicting or pain on others, do you understand what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
And for me, I see it so clearly that my family, because of the job that I dared to do, now we are in a place of joy. I was visiting my sister this weekend, and we had so much fun and so filled with love, and we went out and we danced and we looked at movies together, and we had these beautiful talks, and we never talk about the past anymore. We are here and now, and we are actually authentically 100% loving each other for whom we are today, every day, and we will do that for the rest of our lives. And that's also thankfully for me starting the process, and for them joining me on the process.
That's very
because
important.
They have also done a job, right? So I was lucky that way, that they were able to give back little by little. It was a process also. I went 10 years driving to where they lived, showing the new me, the positive me. And every time I went traveling there and let them have new nice experiences with me, it took some time, maybe 2 years or something, before they started to visit me back. Like, still today, maybe I travel more to them than they travel to me, but that's okay.
It's a process, Amelia. Everybody gets there. Everybody goes in their own rhythm and their own path. But we are all, in our own unique path. We go in our own rhythm. And what we need to experience, what we are here to experience, we got to experience it anyway. So
yeah,
consciously or unconsciously, it's gonna happen anyway. So
yeah,
I love you, I see you, and I feel you, and I really, really feel you. I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart because I can relate to many, many things. I would love to thank you for joining me on this really first edition of Truth Runners.
yeah.
And that's why I love to call it Truth Runners, because this is what I would love to share. The truth, the real life stories, and the real healings, and wounds being there, scars being there. But it is possible. It's all willingness and your decision and your willingness to change and be someone, not living in the past, but living, in the here and now.
Yes, I think the last words from me is that I will say that it's so worth it. So whatever pain you feel or how bad it seems to be, it gets always worse before it gets better. So
this is when you say you always have to experience darkness first, in order to see the light, something.
Absolutely. So, but it's worth it. Just know I'm an example. I hope that I am a good example of that. That if you don't give up, you will come to the other side. And I truly am happy. I have peace. I have joy, and I have a lot of love in my life. So it's worth it.
Absolutely. Love is the highest frequency, and I can see you guys. If you think that Amelia can help you, if she resonates with you, even if you watch live or this replay, we are going to put Amelia's details in the comments below and in the description. And feel free to reach out to her if you think that she can help you, and I'm sure that she can. She has a lot of experience. And what I love about her and what I love about you, Amelia, is that you inspire and you teach people from your own experience, not learning that from the books. And that makes a huge difference, trust me.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I also use the holistic point of view because I am a dance therapist. So I always embody whatever thought we have. If it's fear, if we work with fear, for instance, I know how to work with you, with your body, so you can actually get rid of it, not only here, but in your muscles and everything. It's gonna just disappear. Bye-bye.
So Amelia can make your soul dance again.
Yes, your soul will dance.
Thank you so much, Amelia, for being here. And thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm going to see you next Tuesday again with the Truth Runners. I'm going to send lots of love and light to all of you. And bye for now. Thank you, Amelia.
Bye. Thank you.